week and say hello to Austin Price of Volquest.com, who joins us each week thanks to Rick Terry Jewelry Designs. Austin, we have talked to you each and every week through what is always a long college football offseason, but it's over. Tennessee will play a game on Saturday. What are you most interested to see or to try to learn about from Tennessee's football team, seeing them play 60 minutes for the first time this season?
Well, I'm interested to see the newcomers. I think Tennessee's done a pretty good job in the transfer portal, and I think you could see several of those guys make some significant contributions coming up starting Saturday. And you look at John Campbell. The one thing you hope is his name's never called. That means he's winning his one-on-one matchup, as an offensive lineman. And, obviously McAllen Castles is someone Tennessee's going to rely heavily on at tight end. And then there's Omar Norman Lott on the defensive line, and Keenan Peely and Gabe Judy-Lally, the two BYU transfers. And, of course, everybody's, sexy pick the whole offseason has been Dante Thornton. So, you feel like those transfers are going to help Tennessee this fall. So I'm most intrigued to see them in action. And then just to see Joe. I mean, let's, kind of see where, he's continued to mature and, you feel like he's really turned the corner. A lot of people over on campus have just talked about his last 6 months, and he's had an incredible fall camp. I made this comparison yesterday. He's been on the driving range. A lot of times I go to the driving range and I hit the ball great, and you go to the first tee and you pump two out of bounds, and you're like, wait a minute, this isn't the driving range anymore. So Saturday, is the first tee. So, if Joe can, hit the ball like he's, or played like he's been hitting it on the range this fall camp, then I think Tennessee is, got a really good chance to be really good. And, I know I've totally lost Swain here with the golf talk. So, I mean, he's struggling to figure out what the range is and what out of bounds means and all that good stuff.
I'm just asking why you over here lying on radio talking about how you hitting great shots.
It's Swain.
I said on the driving range, Swain.
Give us a couple of true freshmen that you feel like will play early and make a contribution. Of course, everyone is going to play if you're up by 4 or 5 touchdowns, but who do you feel like has a chance to play that's a freshman kind of in the battle, in the heat of things when the score is close?
I think you'll see a lot of Arion Carter. I think that, you'll see David Hobbs. I think you potentially see Caleb Herring, Ricky Gibson, and Ethan Davis. Like, those are the ones that stick out most to me.
Austin Price, Volquest.com. There's some huge advantages with playing in Nashville. Gives the coaches a chance to go out and recruit and see players on Friday night. And who are some of those players that the staff will get a chance to go see play?
Well, to my knowledge, it'll just be Coach Heupel and then Coach Garner. Coach Garner will go to Ensworth's game. That's Ethan Utley, 2025 defensive lineman. And then Coach Heupel will be at the Brentwood Academy game as they play Christian Brothers to see George McIntyre, the 2025 quarterback.
Ooh.
Where do things stand with McIntyre?
It's Tennessee, Alabama, LSU. It's to be Tennessee and Alabama have kind of separated from the others. But I mean, he's going to have his pick of where he wants to go. Sister just started at school at Tennessee. Mom went to Tennessee. Tennessee's recruiting him extremely hard, and George understands where he stands, in the pecking order for Tennessee. And I feel like Tennessee's in a pretty good spot with George. It's not a lay down, but at the same time, like, Tennessee's done everything they need to do early on in this recruitment to make sure George knows how important he is to that 2025 class.
We're talking to Austin Price from Volquest.com. Thanks to Rick Terry Jewelry Designs. You mentioned freshmen that we should see on Saturday. David Hobbs was well thought of as a recruit. I think On3 had him as a 5-star guy. But on the defensive line, what have you heard about him? What should fans know about a freshman who could play right away on defense?
Well, he can play strong side defensive end. If need be, he can slide inside and play defensive tackle. I mean, he's really athletic. Again, somebody who can play multiple spots on the defensive line, and you feel like he's got enough girth, but yet enough athleticism that he's got the versatility there. So someone who I think that Coach Garner likes a lot. Coach Garner really liked 2 of those defensive linemen that had come in that being David Hobbs and then Tyree Weathersby. And then, of course, Weathersby has the hip injury, and he's out for the year, which was a blow. But, you know, a lot of hope about this young defensive line group. Even guys like Nathan Robinson, you know, and Trevor Duncan. You know, Robinson had a really solid fall camp and really started to get kind of his feet underneath him, having not went through spring practice with that wrist injury.
Thank you, guys.
We know how important it is in recruiting to win games and look good and look like you are on the path for a national championship in the future for recruits. If Tennessee is winning, what type of players out there that are committed to other schools you think Tennessee will possibly be able to sway away with a good season?
There's a handful of guys that they're still talking to. You look at Cam Fountain, Amaris Williams. Those are two defensive linemen. Cam Fountain's committed to USC. Amaris Williams is committed to Florida. And those two are probably the top two for me. I mean, Tennessee still has conversations with, you know, the Williams Wineries and you know, Kai Bates and some of those guys that have committed elsewhere. But, you know, the two that make the most sense to me would be Williams and or Fountain. You know, but again, I think ultimately to flip anybody, you've got to get some of these players, whether it be Fountain, Williams, or whoever, to campus and got to get them here for a visit this fall. If that doesn't happen, I don't think you're flipping anybody.
Austin, earlier in the show, Joel asked us, is there a player that we would pick to see that we think his stock will rise the most over the course of the season? It's Warren Buffett's birthday is the reason we asked the question. So a player that you would buy stock in heading into the opener that you think will be way up at the end of the season?
Yeah, I'd go Omar Norman Lott. That's the guy I would buy stock with. He and Keenan Peely.
That's a good one. I went with Omari Thomas, that defensive line. I think he's going to have a breakout year as a group. AP, Omari, experience. I think he has a great sense of urgency. We saw him flash last year. I think he's going to put it all together this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are several guys that I think that could continue to rise. I mean, I'll tell you one guy that I think, you know, is it fair to say that Tennessee's leading rusher from a year ago could be a guy that you should buy stock in? Because I'm not sure I think you can stock on Jalen Wright right now is still relatively low, and by the end of the year go, wow, that was a great value because he had a tremendous year.
I thought about saying him too, and with you going Omar Norman Lott, Swain takes Amari Thomas. Bryson Easton's played a lot, and then you think about Keenan Peely coming in as a transfer to go along with Aaron Beasley. I mean, talking kind of about the middle of your defense on back, we'll see how things go at safety, but the confidence has to be really high among coaches with where they are in the interior of the defense right now.
Oh, 100%. I mean, they've really coaching staff, they're really excited about this group, just the depth they have across the board. You know, the only place on the defense that I feel like they're just a touch thin is safety. You know, but I mean, I think they're really deep at corner, really deep at linebacker. Now, some of it is youth when I talk about the depth, but you know, at the same time, I think that, you know, they feel like that, you know, Arion Carter's going to play. Jeremiah Thielander could play. Jalen Smith had a really strong fall camp. Like, these are players where I feel like if they had to throw them out there, it would not be, you know, it would not be too much of a struggle for some of these young kids to pick it up and play well. And then, of course, the defensive line, they're extremely deep there as well. So, I mean, you know, the defensive side of the ball, I've said all off season, I will continue to beat that drum. This is where Tennessee as a program takes the next step, is the defense takes the next step. And I think they have a real chance to do that.
They'll start trying on Saturday against Virginia. Austin Price will be covering the game. He's always covering what's happening in recruiting as well and updating us each week thanks to Rick Terry Jewelry Designs, making it unique, making it special, making it just for you. They want to be your jeweler there at Rick Terry Jewelry Designs. They brought the Fulton Beast back. They have big things going on at Volquest.com where you can read the work from Austin Price and his colleagues. Austin, thank you for the time as always. Enjoy covering a game this weekend, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.